When the rare became gold? It's a phrase that almost sounds like a myth, something out of a storybook. But I started thinking about it, not in terms of actual gold, but in terms of value, real, tangible, sometimes even life-changing value. And it wasn't about lucky stock picks or stumbling upon a forgotten Picasso in an attic. It was something much quieter, much more personal. I was looking at patterns, trying to understand how some people or ideas just seem to explode out of nowhere, becoming incredibly successful or influential when, just a short while before, they were completely off the radar. And it dawned on me that many of these overnight successes weren't overnight at all. They were the result of a very particular kind of investment. An investment most people would probably call a waste of time, or just plain weird. Think about this. Someone spends years, maybe decades, dedicating their free time to a hobby that seems utterly pointless to the outside world. Maybe it's meticulously learning an ancient, almost dead language. Or perhaps it's collecting something incredibly niche, like vintage candy wrappers or specific types of discarded electronics from the 80s. Or even just mastering a craft that has no obvious commercial application, like intricate, hand-drawn calligraphy in an increasingly digital age. Friends and family might have shaken their heads, wondering why they weren't doing something more productive or sensible. This is where the first piece of the puzzle clicked for me. This waste of time, this dedication to the obscure, wasn't a liability. It was the slow, patient accumulation of something incredibly rare, highly specialized, unique expertise, or a one-of-a-kind collection. It's like they were building a tiny, personal monopoly on something no one else cared about. Until, suddenly, someone did. Consider the calligraphy example. Steve Jobs famously talked about how a calligraphy class he audited at Reed College, which seemed irrelevant at the time, profoundly influenced the design, or the principles of beauty and artistic taste of Apple computers. That useless skill, that appreciation for typography, became a defining feature of a multi-trillion-dollar company. He invested time in something purely out of interest, and it paid off in a way no one could have predicted. This teaches us something profound about life. Pursuing genuine interests, even if they don't have an immediate, obvious payoff, can equip you with a unique perspective or skill set. In a world where everyone is chasing the same hot skills, having something different, something born from passion rather than obligation, can be a massive deal. Don't be afraid to learn something just because you love it. That love might just be the seed of your future gold. Then there's the acquirer of junk. I'm talking about people who saw potential historical or cultural value in everyday objects that most of us would throw away without a second thought. Old toys, first edition, comic books in mint condition, outdated software manuals, even early, clunky mobile phones. At the time, it might have looked like hoarding, but fast forward a few decades, and these items become artifacts. They tell a story. They become sought after by collectors, museums, or even researchers trying to understand a particular era. The investment here wasn't just in the object, but in foresight. The ability to see future significance in the mundane present. This makes me think about how we often undervalue the present moment and its artifacts. What everyday items from our time will be the coveted collectibles or historical documents of the future. It's a fascinating thought. Applying this to our lives, it suggests the importance of documenting our own stories, our family histories, even the seemingly trivial aspects of our culture. What seems like junk data or an old photo album today could be an invaluable link to the past for future generations, or even provide unexpected insights for ourselves later on. It's about recognizing that value isn't always immediate or obvious. And finally, there's the deep diver into useless knowledge. Imagine someone who dedicates their life to studying, say, the migratory patterns of a very specific, non-economically important insect, or the precise chemical composition of forgotten 17th century pigments. Society might deem this impractical, esoteric, but then, a new environmental crisis emerges where that insect's behavior is a key indicator. Or a new technology is developed for art restoration that requires exact knowledge of those pigments. Suddenly, that useless expert becomes indispensable. Their highly specific, deeply cultivated knowledge, which no one else bothered to acquire, becomes incredibly valuable. This highlights a crucial life lesson: the power of deep niche expertise. In an age of information overload and generalists, becoming a true master of a very specific, perhaps even obscure, domain can be a surprisingly robust strategy. When a problem arises that only you can solve, your value skyrockets. It's a reminder that following your intellectual curiosity, even if it leads you down unconventional paths, can build a unique form of capital. Don't shy away from becoming the person who knows everything about X, even if X seems insignificant now. So, what's the common thread here? What's the cold, hard logic, as I like to put it, behind these unusual investments that actually worked? It's not luck. It's the deliberate, or sometimes accidental, cultivation of singularity. In a world that often pushes for conformity and chasing current trends, These individuals were, in their own way, investing in being different. They were building a reserve of something scarce. A unique skill, a unique collection, unique knowledge. The market, whether it's for jobs, ideas, or collectibles, ultimately rewards scarcity and differentiation. When everyone else is zigging, the person who has quietly been zagging, mastering the unfashionable, or preserving the unimportant, suddenly finds themselves in a very powerful position when the cultural or economic winds shift. And they always shift. Trends are cyclical. New technologies create unforeseen needs. Nostalgia makes the old new again. The real investment, then, wasn't in the calligraphy pen, the old toy, or the obscure academic paper itself. The investment was in the time, the dedication, and the foresight to pursue something that wasn't mainstream. It was an investment in creating a personal pocket of rarity in a world of mass production and fleeting interests. This isn't to say everyone should start hoarding bottle caps or learning dead languages hoping to strike it rich. That misses the point. The deeper insight is about the value of pursuing genuine interests, cultivating unique skills, and having the patience to see where those unconventional paths might lead. It's about understanding that what society deems useless or insignificant today might hold the keys to unforeseen opportunities tomorrow. Think about how this applies beyond just financial gain. In your career, what unique combination of skills or experiences do you possess that no one else does? In your personal life, what passions or knowledge sets you apart and enriches your existence, and potentially the lives of others, in unexpected ways? The gold isn't always monetary. It can be influence, fulfillment, a unique contribution, or simply the deep satisfaction of knowing you cultivated something truly your own. So, when we look at these inversiones insólitas que sí funcionaron, what we're really seeing is the triumph of the unique over the commonplace. The enduring power of dedicated passion in a world obsessed with the next big thing. It's a quiet rebellion against the expected, a testament to the fact that sometimes the most valuable things are those that everyone else overlooked. The rare, indeed, can become gold. And the beauty of it is that rarity is something each of us has the potential to cultivate in our own unique way. So, how do we actually bring this idea of cultivating beneficial rarity into our everyday lives? It's not about grand gestures, but rather small, consistent shifts in how we spend our time and attention. Think about your daily routine. Could you carve out just 15 minutes to explore something purely out of curiosity? Something with no immediate practical application? Maybe it's learning a few phrases in a language you've always found beautiful, or watching a short documentary on a historical event you know nothing about. It could be as simple as picking up a book on a subject completely unrelated to your career, or trying a new slightly challenging recipe just for the fun of it. These small acts of intellectual or creative exploration, done consistently, build up a unique reservoir of knowledge and perspective. What about the things around you? Instead of always decluttering with ruthless efficiency, maybe occasionally pause and consider the story behind an object before discarding it. Perhaps start a simple journal, not to record grand achievements, but the small observations, the funny conversations, the fleeting thoughts of the day. These aren't for public consumption, but for you, they are tiny investments in your own personal archive, your own unique history, and hobbies. Let's reclaim them from the pressure of monetization or resume. If you enjoy sketching, even if you think you're terrible, do it. If you like tinkering with old electronics, or gardening, or writing poetry no one will ever read, embrace it. The benefit isn't in becoming a professional, it's in the process itself, in the joy of creation and learning, in nurturing a part of you that exists outside of your productive obligations. This unproductive time often leads to unexpected insights and a richer inner life. The benefits of these small, seemingly insignificant actions compound over time. You'll find your creativity sparked in new ways, as your mind draws connections between disparate fields of knowledge. You might stumble upon unexpected opportunities, because your unique skill set or perspective suddenly becomes relevant. More importantly, you'll cultivate a deeper sense of personal fulfillment and resilience, knowing you have interests and passions that are entirely your own, independent of external validation. You're essentially diversifying your personal portfolio of experiences and skills. It's about consciously choosing to engage with the world in a slightly more curious, slightly more attentive, and slightly less utilitarian way. It's about valuing the process of learning and collecting experiences for their own sake. That's where the real, personal gold often lies hidden. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. I hope it's given you something to think about. And before you go, I invite you to check out the description below. There's a little something there that you might find helpful. Until next time.